Komon-Tok, in case you don't know. Oh yeah. When we pledge with love and loyalty to his sweet, sweet mama's alone. Now we all for come together as one. For tomorrow, now we go make alone. Anytime where you day, anytime where you go, anything you they do, oh yeah, now we for turn up Tanga one, inside Sierra Leone, let one big family, cause no place like home. In case you don't know, this not Komon-Tok, where they bring information about Salone. In case you don't know, this now Komon-Tok, where they bring information about Salone. For education, entertainment, political affairs, tune in Komon-Tok. For education, entertainment, political affairs, tune in Komon-Tok.
From Sierra Leone to everywhere, oh yeah. Come on, talk, come make me hear. From the street.
Netherlands. Mr. Dauda B. Kanu, Norway. Mr. John Beiro, Finland. Madam Fatima Sise, United Kingdom. Mr. Abu Shah, United Kingdom. Professor Mohamed Y. Bangura, United Kingdom, and he's also the project coordinator for SLAM. Mr. Umar F. Toure is from Germany. Madam Esther Habibatu Darami, United States of America. Professor John Fode Toure, United States of America. Madam Kadita Rawali, United Kingdom. And myself, of course, Marie H. Kamara, the Netherlands. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Marie H., for that. We would now call on Madam Beatrice Conte to introduce us, the host. Over to you. Is Beatrice Conte there? No? Okay, let's don't waste any more time as time is fast spent. We can introduce ourselves. So I'll let Dr. Sise start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Mohamed Sise. I am a medical practitioner in the UK. I trained as a medical doctor in Sierra Leone and worked there for many years. And then over here in the UK, I've been a medical practitioner, a consultant. The last 10 years, I work with Northeast London Foundation Trust. I'm a lead consultant in the clinical decisions. I'm an ardent of
I was mute, Dr. Sise. I'm back. Sorry, somebody mute me. Yeah.
Would you want
Hello?
to?
Yes, I can introduce. Well,
please go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry, guys. I was on. They mute me. I tried to unmute myself. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My role here this evening is to introduce the two hosts that are leading this mini conference. It is a true honor to introduce our first distinguished guest, Dr. Sise. Dr. Sise brings an impressive clinical background spanning both Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom. He's trained and worked as a medical director in Sierra Leone, long-standing medical practitioner in the UK, served as a consultant for close to 10 years, currently holds the position of lead consultant in clinical decisions unit at the Northeast London NHS Foundation Trust. Beyond this demanding clinical career, Dr. Sise demonstrates a deep commitment to global health and social justice. He is dedicated founder and chairman of the Well-Body Group, as a registered health charity based in the UK, dedicated to helping those in need. Furthermore, he is a vocal and passionate advocate for human rights, good governance, and justice, using his platform to promote positive social change. He is also a dedicated family man married with two lovely boys. It is clear that Dr. Sise embodies both clinical excellence and strong humanitarian spirit. Please join me in giving a very welcome to Dr. Sise. And the next host is Mrs. Fatmata Sise. Mrs. Fatmata Sise is a Sierra Leonean by birth, an accomplished professional currently based in the UK. Fatima has dedicated her career to the vital field of education and lifelong learning. Her professional mastery includes working as a qualified assessor and quality assurance officer. And she currently utilizes her expertise as a skill coach for one of the UK's foremost training organizations. She has a master's degree in sustainable development and a graduate degree in humanities and social sciences. Her core interests include the environment, peace, politics, and sustainability. It is this dedication to sustain empowerment from the classroom to global policy issues that make her a perspective so valuable today. Please help me welcome Mrs. Fatima Sise. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that amazing introduction. I'll hand over to Dr. Sise to introduce Dr. Fuller, who would give us an overview of the program.
Thank you very much, Madam Fatima Sise, and thank you for that introduction. Just before I go on to do that task of introducing Madam Fuller, I would thank Islam to give us the opportunity to steer this program with my co-host and distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends of Sierra Leone as we commemorate the International Day of Tolerance on the 16th of November this week. On behalf of my co-host and SLAM membership, I wish this important SLAM Global Conference. This is a defining moment in our country's democratic journey. The establishment of the Tripartite Committee using the government of Sierra Leone, uniting the government of Sierra Leone, the opposition APC party, and the international community as a moral guarantor is a courageous step toward resolving the post-us and rebuilding public trust in our country. If implemented expeditiously and sincerely, this mechanism has the potential to serve as a powerful model of alternative dispute resolution, not only for Sierra Leone, but for countries across Africa currently struggling with contested elections and fragile democratic institutions. As we reflect on our country's post-conflict history and the incomplete implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations, friends, of two things. One, that without reform is temporary. And two, that democracy without accountability is fragile. Amidst all of this, without a swift implementation of the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee, there are risks that surround this. Risks first, and secondly, risks to Africa and the world. To Sierra Leone, economic hardship, the youth unemployment, and the emerging drug epidemic facing our nation are urgent signals. The cost of delayed action is very high. And to Africa and the world, as instability challenges democracies from Cameroon to Tanzania to Nepal and even to Venezuela, Sierra Leone stands at a crossroads with opportunity to lead by example. Our task tonight, colleagues, is twofold. One, to insist on renewed commitment to democratic integrity, and secondly, to ensure that the Tripartite Committee becomes a journey in blue for stability, justice, and national renewal. With those few comments, I wanted to thank everyone. We wish this particular program to go very nicely so we can take away some lessons. With that, I have the opportunity of welcoming Dr. Vinod Fuller, who is the Director General Islam. He is a leader. He is a big democracy advocate. He's a human rights activist. He is a married gentleman, and he's a champion of justice in our community. With those, I wanted to take the opportunity. I have the unique opportunity on Dr. Fuller to flesh out this night. Dr. Fuller.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sise. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, distinguished guest. fellow Sierra Leoneans, esteemed leaders, partners in civil society, friends of truth and democracy from around the world. As mentioned by Dr. Cissé, today's theme is Sierra Leone's democracy at Crossroads and case study. The imperative of fully implementing the tripartite recommendations. Tonight, we meet not in comfort, but in convenience. We gather here not as members of a party or movement, but as a community of memory, of mission, and of moral obligation. For we are the children of a nation that has bled for its survival, and yet still believes in its future. A nation whose wounds are still open, but whose will remains unbroken. The theme, therefore, before us this evening is not symbolic, it is not rhetorical, but it is factual. It is urgent. It is a mirror to the movement we now inhabit. Sierra Leone's democracy stands at a crossroads. And all of us, I repeat, all of us, whether we like it or not, are participants in deciding which path she will take. The road we have traveled to reach this moment has not been gentle. It has been paved with suppression, paved with stolen votes, you all know, paved with political betrayal and institutional complicity. The 2023 elections were not just flawed. I repeat, the 2023 elections were not just flawed, they were fraudulent. They were fraudulent. They were not a celebration of democratic expression, but a suffocation of it. What was denied to the people of Sierra Leone was not merely a fair result, it was dignity, transparency, and voice. But as Slam Global has consistently asserted, we are not gathered to rehearse our pain here tonight. We are here to redeem our purpose. Out of the ashes of that betrayal came the tripartite, an attempt to salvage national credibility. Its recommendations are not cosmetic. They are consequential. I repeat, the tripartite recommendations are not cosmetic. They are consequential. They represent a pathway to national institutional integrity, electoral justice, and democratic legitimacy. But only if they are implemented fully, faithfully, and fiercely. I repeat, only if those recommendations of the tripartite are implemented fully, faithfully, and fiercely. In the past months, this country, which inched closer to a dangerous precipice, youth unemployment has risen beyond 60%. Food security has deepened. Inflation continues to choke the poor. At the same time, we see diplomatic passports surfacing in international drug seizures. We see the names of state officials whispered in corridors of criminal enterprise. And we see a class insulated from hardship, preaching unity while practicing exclusion. But unity without justice is not reconciliation. It is repression with a smile. And progress without accountability is not governance. It is performative perception. What Sierra Leone needs is not just peace. It needs principled peace. And I repeat, it needs principled peace. What Sierra Leone needs is not just justice, it needs order. It needs moral order. Not just order, but it needs moral order. Not just development, but it needs dignity. This is why we are gathered here tonight. This is why we have summoned this global mini conference, not to complain, but to confront, not to cause the darkness, but to call for light, and not to act alone, but to build a coalition of conscience that reaches from the hills of Freetown to the chambers of the United Nations. I want to repeat that. It's vital. We are gathered here today because it's to build a coalition of conscience that reaches the hills of Freetown to the chambers of the United Nations. Tonight, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we extend our hand to all who still believe in Sierra Leone, to those in government who are tired of silence. Please join us. To those in opposition who fear despair, please, we beg you, we indulge you to stand with us. To civil society groups, to journalists, to youth activists, to our elders in the diaspora, we say this movement is yours too. This is not the time for neutrality. This is not the time for moral clarity. If you believe elections should reflect the will of the people, then come to the table. If you believe justice should be blind and not partisan, then please come to the table. If you believe in Sierra Leone if Sierra Leone can still be saved, not by violence, not by vengeance, but by vision, then please come to the table. For far too long, our politics have been about self-preservation. It is time to make them about nation preservation. It is time to make them about nation preservation. About public service over private gain. About truth over tribalism. About courage over calculation. We do not claim to be perfect. We claim to be principled. We are not saints, we are citizens. But we are citizens who refuse to look away, who refuse to stand silent, who refuse to surrender our country to those who have mistaken power for impunity. This is the crossroads, ladies and gentlemen. This is the crossroads. This is the hour. And history And history will not ask us whether you were comfortable. It will ask us whether we were courageous. So let us be courageous, my brothers and sisters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let us amplify the tripartite recommendations until they are not just headlines, but implemented to the law, to the letter, and fully. Let us fight for a Sierra Leone that is worthy of our ancestors' sacrifices and children's dreams. Let us do together with faith in our people and with hope in our institutions and with fire that no dictatorship can extinguish. I thank you. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Sierra Leone. And may history remember this night as the beginning of our national renewal. I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fuller, for that wonderful, wonderful opening and overview of this meeting. There are key things that you highlighted there. You know, this is the crossroads. This is the hour. Are we going to stand and fight? Are we going to work together? Are we going to amplify the tripartite recommendations so that we build a nation of coalition of conscience? I like that. If Bernadette, Miss Bernadette Kagbo is there, can you please raise your hand because you'll be the next speaker so that you can be spotlighted. I will introduce her whilst we're waiting. So tonight, Madam Bernadette Kagbo's responsibility here, or the topic in which she will be talking on, is understanding the tripartite committee, purpose, process, and key findings. Our speakers have got 5 minutes or so to say something on each of the topic that they've been introduced to talk on. So Madam Bernadette Kagbo is a Sierra Leonean, and her background is in, she's got a legal background, and also she specialized in legal administration and crime and litigation. She worked as a legal analyst and corporate director investigating money laundering and financial regulations. She also worked at the NRA and ACC in Sierra Leone, and she is an astute member of the Tripartite Committee in Sierra Leone. So over to you, Madam Bernadette, and thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay, if Madam Bernadette is not here already, can Dr. Sise please introduce the next speaker, Mr. Air Martin Monde? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. You know, everyone is muted. We'll get you loud and clear, madam.
Okay, so Dr. Sise, I think you can introduce Mr. Air Martin Monde as the next speaker.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I am really sorry. I got muted there. Mr. Martin Monde is an environmental health research and youth engagement person, an expert in the field of communication, a BBC award-winning medalist on broadcasting, a broadcaster, a journalist, a filmmaker who has created numerous documentaries such as Building the Water Dam and East London Wears, to name a few, and they are all award-winning. He worked in Sierra Leone and internationally for reputable educational institutions and establishments as a teacher, lecturer, communication advisor, journalist, and more. He holds MAs from the Universities of Cardiff and Royal Holloway in the field. He is a reporter with the New Citizen and Globe newspapers in Freetown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Martin Monde to give us insights on media accountability and democratic renewal, strengthening public trust for the full implementation of the tripartite recommendations. Welcome, Mr. Martin Monde. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Say, and I'm most grateful to the big national audience we're facilitating. In terms of media, I'll tell you two things. One, the media has taken up to the tripartite right from the get-go. The reason being, it has been part of a movement and a struggle. Now, I'd say two things. The media has played a role that apparently helps to reflect what in the Constitution of Sierra Leone has been mandatorily entered. The freedom of expression is just one of them. There's a whole raft of both freedoms that exist. They're constitutional. You don't have those rights because they're in the Constitution. The Constitution adopts them because you have those rights. This is the first thing that we have to remember. So media accountability has not stemmed out of a gift of anybody, any institution, or a constitution. In fact, the Constitution has attempted to capture, and not just capture it, but to verify that those freedoms are yours. These are close to inalienable rights. These are rights that a person has. A child from childhood starts to blab. Nobody, no parent can stop a child saying ba, ba, ba. Now, what we do in our society is we attempt to pretend that there is a regulator that determines your freedom to express. Now, this is the first thing. So democratic accountability is based upon your own rights to question, to challenge, and to review what goes on. There's a second thing with media accountability in Sierra Leone since 2023. The process before 2023 determined what became and what today is the media position. What am I saying here? Before 2023, there was a skewed and stilted political dispensation. We already knew who the candidates would be. Gradually, there was a shrinkage of political participation. With that process happening under the glare of blue lights, under the glare of people's cameras, all Sierra Leoneans watched as freedom of expression got mutilated. We also watched unfair processes where political participation was skewed. One man was sent into court for a period of nearly 365 days, whereas another group were busy roaming around the country, dancing and saying they were campaigning. Now, in these circumstances, what does the media do, and where does media accountability lie? There's a third thing I want you to remember. I want us to remember that since June 24, 2023, and the days after, we brazenly saw the implementation of what, in various terms, would be termed a coup. Now, where the Constitution itself was suspended, because the Constitution says that when you go through an election, there is an electoral process. And in that process, there would be a named individual based, of course, upon the performances at election. In Sierra Leone, what we noticed was that in itself got distorted and skewed. So where does media accountability lie in a country where we've had all of these in the background? One of the things that I want us to remember is the newspapers, the broadcast media, the print media have normally been the parent organizations of media, as we have seen, known, and expected. What we have noted in Sierra Leone in the recent times is that these same tools have been used to disinform. So media disinformation has continued on an industrial scale. In a country where where an industrial distortion of information exists, what you're going to notice is people then get into a quandary. People then do not know what really is going on. People do not understand what is happening. So in terms of the tripartite and democratic renewal, one of the things is there has been a failure to develop the media role. The tripartite is a treaty that appears to have happened in broad daylight 24/7 through 2.5 years if we're not careful. We started in 2023 and here we're in 2025. The background before we started existed. So the media understand these things. The problem with media accountability is the fact that media positioning has been tampered with. So now when people speak things, they now get categorized. I sometimes hear people talk about the Samura Kamara bloggers. I hear people talk about the SLPP bloggers. And I ask myself a question. Where does the media stand in all of this? Two things. Democratic renewal, I posit, will happen only when we start to allow people who gain information that is vetted, that is tested, that is not libelous, to pass that information freely. When that happens, other people would realize that there is an ongoing process, and that process will then gain some level of credibility. Last week, we hear that a team of people started going to different districts of Sierra Leone to say they are now coming to engage with those Sierra Leoneans on the tripartite. About a month ago, we hear that the opposition party said they have changed their lead negotiator, and now they have put somebody else, Dr. Someone, as the negotiator. Now, one of the things that happens is when you do these tamperings and you play along these lines, the people get disinformed. So there is a process of deliberate disinformation that is continuing in Sierra Leone. And this process is to undermine the validity and the veracity of the recommendations. Now, I want you to bear in mind that all the recommendations that are there, 84 plus 1, all of them have come not from people from Mars, not from strangers, but from participants in the political process. Because of that, we must realize that as media, all we have to do is to publicize every chunk, every piece of this information. If we publicize every piece of this information, some people say there are 80, some people say there are 84. The very fact that people are arguing about numbers implies we have never publicized all. So my first challenge to the media in Sierra Leone, especially to people who publish, both in terms of broadcast and print, is to go tomorrow and publicize everything that is called 85 tripartite points, so that everybody who is Sierra Leonean knows what those 85 points are. If you decide to publicize 84, publicize them. In countries like Britain, what we have learned is that every time you try to conceal information, you lead to a throwback. In Sierra Leone, they think it causes disinformation. No, it causes suspicion. And so now the tripartite and the leaders of Sierra Leone are looked on with suspect eyes simply because of this process in which they have tried to truncate information. I go to the second point. My second point in this discussion is treaties and what makes treaties work in Sierra Leone. You see, Sierra Leone has a long history from 1961 when we have made treaties with different parties. We've made treaties with the British government. We've made treaties with the United Nations. Every Sierra Leonean remembers the ICC and the court in Sierra Leone because it's residual. The flames burn in Freetown. This is the result of treaty. Other people remember Fode Sankoh and how we ended that bloody war, the very big civil war. Treaty. In the end, this man was brought into Freetown, Fode Sankoh, and made vice president. And this was part of the process of ending that war. Now, so what I challenge Sierra Leoneans is for us to remember that the media accountability would be that the media has to make the people of our nation see that treaty has been a regulatory process politically in Sierra Leone. And this is how Sierra Leoneans have dealt with every conflict that has happened in their country, bar the initial 1967 elections. Apart from the 1967 elections, which in itself created a treaty with Guinea, and Guinea sent troops into Sierra Leone as well. But apart from that period, all of the ways we have resorted every big national issues through treaty. Now, for media accountability, one thing that has to happen is the media has now to start to understand what we call the treaty ratification process. I'll tell you two things. In Sierra Leone, for every treaty to become ratified, there has to be what we call a domestication program. The domestication program is taking the treaty and turning it into the laws of Sierra Leone. So my challenge now is for media accountability. I want to hear those people who speak. They must do this little knowledge training, and if they want, they can do it with me, to learn how dualist societies like ours change treaties and turn them domestic. And then we can hold people to account. The Parliament of Sierra Leone needs now to ratify what has already been signed. Because in Sierra Leone, the executive signs the document and they lay it before Parliament for what we call ratification. Parliament has nothing to do with it. The executive has the role, and the executive has done that role. The role is, how do we determine a treaty? It's an executive function. But for it to be complete, it has to be ratified by the legislation, Parliament. So I'm saying to my colleagues, every time I hear them, the media say, oh, all the documents have been signed. Please, please, please explain to the people of Sierra Leone. So media accountability takes knowledge. For us, we need to have this basic knowledge, this awareness that this process is not a process that people determine. It's an ongoing process. It's not the first time, but it is what the law allows us. The process is at ratification, meaning laying it in Parliament. I think my time is nearly there, and all I want the media to remember is that we have to pursue the parliamentary process. This is pure ratification. This is part of a two-stage ratification of treaties. Thank you very much. So media accountability will take knowledge, objectivity, and we already came from a very sensitive background of unfair play. And I want you to remember that freedom of expression is not given you by the Constitution. It is your right. Everybody remember that as a Sierra Leonean. You have a right and a freedom to express yourself. Please do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ermonde. You've really been able to lay bare a lot of important issues there. Media accountability, the issues of the signing of by the executive of some of these international treaties, the domestication of these, the need for ratification, which is a function of Parliament. These are really great things, and obviously, the Constitution guarantees freedom of expression and association, which seems to have been truncated. All right, with that, I move to. I hope we have been enlightening the public here on the way things should progress. You've been very, very helpful there. I think we should go to Mr. Wadi Williams. My co-host, Madam Fatima Sisi, are you able to step forward and introduce Mr. Wadi, please?
Absolutely. Welcome, Mr. Wadi Williams, to this SLAM conference. And today, we would like you to focus on the role of civil society and media in safeguarding democracy. Before you step to the mic, I would like to tell people a few things about you. Mr. Wadi Williams is a visionary Pan-African political philosopher. His academic background is in social science, politics, and philosophy, and a coalition builder and an advocate for inter-party collaboration, ideological alignment, and people-centered policy. He played a key role in Sierra Leone. He's a founder member of the chair of the National Progressive Democrats and the Progressives. He has contributed significantly to the continent's liberation, and he supported the movements in South Africa, ANC, Impala in Angola, SWAPO in Namibia. Over to you, Mr. Wadi Williams.
Apparently, Mr. Williams was in. I don't know what's happened. We're trying to locate him anyway.
On that note, do we have Madam Bernadette? Could you please raise your hand up? Could you please identify your device? Could you please write your name on your device if you are hearing me? Madam Bernadette, could you please do that so we can unmute you and you can speak to us about the track. Do we have Madam Bernadette in the house?
I think we can move on to the next speaker.
And Ambassador Lee, when he comes back, then yes. Madam, I think there should be Dr. Dennis Bright in the house.
Is he?
If you're there, Dr. Dennis Bright, could you identify your device, please? Do we have you? Or Madam Femi Claudius Cole? Do we have you as well? Could you please identify yourself if you're around? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
In the absence of that, I think we have to move to introducing Chief Samura Kamara III. Is he in the house? Is he identified himself?
Yes, he is.
Okay, right. We'll move on.
In.
I'll have the honor of introducing land gentleman, the old man, the man whom I describe as the wiseacre in Sierra Leone. I always say to him that I am a student of his. Chief Samura obviously was born in Sierra Leone, and in the days when Frobe College was affiliated to the Durham University in the UK, that was when he did his education there. He got his bachelor's there. He's a well-respected senior personality in the sphere of politics in Sierra Leone. He started his public career, say, in the late 60s and rose to the position of permanent secretary by the 80s. He was crowned paramount chief in 1988, and with such a position, he resigned from that and entered politics and was subsequently elected as SLPP party in 2014. Chief Samura Kamara, like I said, is one of the wiseacres in the country, and we are here today to learn from him. The country needs his experience. He will speak to us about political dialogue and national cohesion, building bridges of unity. There can be no better person to do this as someone who's served in the SLPP party and now giving advice to the country as a whole. Over to you, Chief Samura Kamara. Let's all welcome him.
Thank you very much. I'm highly honored to be given the opportunity to participate in this unique symposium. From what I've heard from the participants so far, it has been a warm and lovely evening. I love every part of it. My task is to make a statement on the two compelling perspectives, this political dialogue and national cohesion, building of bridges for unity. My statement will be very short and well thought out. It will take into account the political and philosophical considerations as a fundamental basis. Political dialogue and national cohesion are very important skills, hyphen tools in the game of power. To learn and master them, you need to develop the ability to recognize the specific problems that are peculiar to the nation's body politic. The common challenges in most states stem from the political, regional, and ethnic divisions within the states. Almost all states in Africa are fragmented in cleavages, and Sierra Leone is no exception. Taking Sierra Leone as a case study, the cleavages are ethno-regional and political. Even more perplexing, they do not cut across or they are not vertical, but horizontal to the administrative boundaries. And that is very tragic. For example, the north is predominantly chimney. The western region is also predominantly chimney. But you have the other smaller tribal groups, the Limba, the Susu, the Yolunka, the Kurankos, and the Creoles in the northwestern region. But from early times, the chimney, which is the dominant tribal group, they do not pursue a policy of assimilating the smaller tribes. Rather, they allow them to maintain their identity. Whereas in the South, the policy of assimilation was very rife at an early time. So that's why the other dominant tribe in the South dominates. The only tribe or two tribes that resisted assimilation are the Kono and the Kizis. If we check, almost all states in Africa are fragmented in cleavages. Sierra Leone is no exception. that I've already said. Even of greater concern is the fact that the two major political parties from the time of independence, the APC and SLPP, are patterned to tribal and regional rights. Consequential to this, the ethnic and regional rivalries have long possessed our nation, that is Sierra Leone, filling it with political violence, bigotry, drenched it, and often with human blood, loss of property, and putting it on the spell of despair. That is the fate our country is facing. The election, that is the multi-tier election of 24 June 2023, clearly it will appear signal a watershed. The voting pattern slightly shifted because as it appeared, the people voted for change. And I want to emphasize this point so that people will be very clear in their minds. In 1996, we had elections. The SLPP won the elections. In 2002, the SLPP again won the elections. In 2007, the APC won the elections. In 2012, the APC won the elections. So each of the parties has served 2 terms each. What I want people to note, and it is of very serious importance, in 2018, the SLPP won the elections. In 2023, it is claimed by the APC that in the 2023 elections, that the SLPP lost that election. So this is the key aspect that Sierra Leoneans must have to reflect on. Why did the people vote for a change? Or did the people vote purely on political or tribal considerations? To any political analyst, he will come to the conclusion that it was for a change that the people voted for. And that is the crucial point. The claim is evident from the data or the data collected from the resolved reconciliation forms, the RRF. The APC submitted 71% to the tripartite committee for verification. And they were verified and given the badge of being authentic. Now, specifically, I'll give you synopsis of what unfolded after those elections. The chairman of ECSL on 27 June 2023 declared the incumbent as winner. The APC party rejected the results that they did not reflect the will of the people. The observation teams, both national and international, the international principally the EU and the Carter Foundation, claimed the elections were fraught with irregularities. The APC refused to go to the Supreme Court as provided by law. It is not enshrined in the 1991 documents itself. That is the basic law of 1991. But it was a subsidiary law that whosoever, those that contest elections and as presidential candidates, if you lose the elections and you are not satisfied, you have 7 days. Within those 7 days, you must lodge a petition. That is the constitutional provision. And that has been the case from 1996. The only exception we have to that was the 2023 elections, which is also the second peculiarity of the 2023 elections. The first peculiarity that had informed the members of this symposium that the incumbent was declared winner and the opposition party refused to accept the elections because of the conviction that it was rigged and therefore did not reflect the will of the people. The APC refused to go to the Supreme Court as provided by law. They took the unprecedented decision to boycott from any participation in governance. The boycott led to a stalemate or impasse. After a back and forth effort, the government and the APC party agreed to resolve the impasse through dialogue, culminating into the signing of the Agreement of National Unity, that is the ANU, at Bintumani on 18th October 2023. It is from that we take a critical look of political dialogue as a strategic tool to resolving political disputes. For the first time in the history of Sierra Leone, and even in our own sub-region, for a political party not to go to the Supreme Court, but rather take an unconventional position to exert its right. It is from that we take a critical look of political dialogue as a strategic tool to resolving political disputes. It is a potent weapon in resolving political disputes. So for Sierra Leone, it is an epoch-making event, just like the Magna Carta became an epoch-making event. Finally, we have to come to realization that we can take the indirect route, to resolve conflicts without recourse to the courts. And here lies the relevance of electoral justice. Let me just clarify this position. Traditionally, when they declare someone as being the winner in a presidential context, you, the opponent, if you are dissatisfied, you go to the Supreme Court. That is the provision within the domestic law. But here we have something unconventional. When the APC lost, they presume the APC lost, but they had confidence that they had won those elections. They did not go to the Supreme Court, but rather took an indirect route. And it is that indirect route that has culminated into the tripartite. And what most people don't acknowledge or seem to understand, that the two main parties to the Bintumani conference, that is the government of Sierra Leone and the APC, they agreed and signed the document, which in law became binding. And even more importantly, the development partners endorsed that agreement. So you have what the legal luminaries term as the consensus ad idem. But the tripartite agreement even went further to state that whatever is the outcome in the form of recommendations to that agreement will become enforceable in law. And that is the situation in which we have found ourselves. So, but the bottom line is, we see the importance of political dialogue, because that has never been put into some form of experience or practice. Today, it has become part of the jurisprudence of Sierra Leone. You know, the natural law, which is not substantive law, because of what Lord Dennings and other important luminaries in the English legal system had introduced the equitable remedies. And even in the UN, you have the ECOSOC, because it is not every aspect that the substantive law covers. So where you have a lacuna, then issues of equity come in. You have series of examples of them. You know, the principle of equitable estoppel as enunciated by Lord Denning, who was the master of the road. So that is the highlight and the high point of Sierra Leone, that for the first time, a political dialogue can burn out an equitable remedy to redress something that in all scores
Okay.
a wrong in all falls to correct it. National cohesion is ancillary to political dialogue.
Chief, do you have much more to go, Chief?
No, I've already come to the finality of my statement. I'm just trying to elaborate certain aspects. So because of time, I want to thank all of you that have participated in a collaborative way to this very, very important symposium. I wish you the best of luck. It is very inspirational, and I hope you will continue in that endeavor. I thank all of you. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much, Chief, for taking us through historic trajectory about ethno-regional compartmentalization and all the rest. But most importantly, the issue of the tripartite as an alternative dispute resolution mechanism for dialogue. We hope this will be used in Sierra Leone as well as everywhere else. We'll learn. With that, I think we should go quickly to Madam Fatima to introduce Madam Fatima Babi. But we are under pressure for time. We'll try and keep it very, very short on that segment. Over to you, Madam Fatima.
Good evening again. So I've got this honor to introduce Dr. Fatima Babi. And after Dr. Fatima Babi's contribution, we will go straight to the UN rep, who would also give us his talk. Dr. Fatima Babi will be talking on the topic of diaspora advocacy and global voice for Sierra Leone's democracy. So our amazing woman of substance is a social justice and human rights activist, a writer, editor, and publisher and consultant based in the US. He is the founder of the non-governmental organization called Africa Women Rise, which is advancing girls' education and women's empowerment. She holds a degree in economics, gender studies, legal and ethical studies, and education leadership. She worked for the World Bank and IMF. Her work highlights issues such as child trafficking, maternal mortality, and the political silencing of women. She exposes injustice, inspires resilience and self-reliance amongst African girls and women through her writings and advocacy work. Over to you, Dr. Fatima Babi. You need to, they need to unmute, doctor, please. Can the technical...
Unmute. Technology always gets me. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me now? You can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, distinguished participants, fellow activists, members of the diaspora, and all committed citizens of Sierra Leone. I am honored to be speaking on diaspora advocacy and the global voice for Sierra Leone democracy here tonight. This is not just a topic. This is the very reason why we are here. We are the generation that left home, or the segment of the population that left home, but never left behind the pain, the pride, or the responsibility that comes with being a Sierra Leonean. Tonight, I speak as someone whose advocacy began in exile, but whose heart and voice remain firmly rooted in Sierra Leone. Our democracy, as everyone has pointed out, all speakers have pointed out tonight, is at a crossroads. The 2023 election results are still unpublished, leaving millions of citizens uncertain. Our youth unemployment continues to rise. Our country is listed as a global transit point for drug trafficking. And we must also be clear on this. With drug trafficking comes human trafficking. So our country is also for human trafficking. Yet, on the international platforms, we continue to listen to Julius Maada Bio, who is still holding on to power in Sierra Leone, listening to his carefully crafted speeches claiming progress in the country. Sometimes I wonder who is lying. Is it the people that are lying, or is it the Julius Maada Bio leadership that is lying to us and lying on the international stage? So those who live inside the country cannot speak freely. Fear silences them. Fear of losing their jobs, fear of imprisonment, which we have seen, fear of violence. But we outside the country have the privilege to speak boldly and unfiltered. And that's what I do. If you call me to speak and you want me to filter my words, mince my words, then you should not invite me. And with this privilege comes responsibility. Diaspora advocacy is not a backup plan for our people. It is the lifeline of democracy in Sierra Leone today. Because as we all know, our people are being oppressed, our people are being silenced. There is no freedom of speech in Sierra Leone today. We must use our global presence, our education, our networks, and access to international media to demand transparency in governance, including full implementation of the Tripartite Committee's recommendations. Challenge policies that enable impunity, amplify local voices who cannot safely speak, support credible civil society movements, and engage international institutions, not as observers, but as strategic partners in restoring accountability in Sierra Leone, but to protect and project their voices. I often say we are the generation or the segment of the Sierra Leonean population with both the memory of struggle and the power of opportunity. Our parents may not have had access to the resources that can help us, but we do. Our children, the future of Sierra Leone, may not yet have the voice. So we must speak for them. Silence is no longer a neutrality. It is complicity. If you are silent, you are part of the problem. You see things happening to our people, unpleasant things, oppressive things, and you decide it's none of your business, you are part of the problem. When truth is suppressed within the country, our global voices outside the country becomes the loudspeaker of justice. We cannot sit comfortably abroad while injustice travels unhindered. We have seen it all around the country every day. The newspapers, the airways, at home. Advocacy from far must not be occasional outrage. We must not wait to react when things happen and we express outrage. We must be proactive. We must be consistent. We must be strategic and relentless. So tonight, I challenge all of us in the diaspora. Use every platform available. Conferences, parliamentary hearings, academic institutions, policy circles, media houses. There are many that I admire right now. Komon-Tok, Weird, they are doing their part, and I admire these guys. So we must build alliances within Africa and across the globe. Move from advocacy to impact-driven intervention. We can't just be talking. We need to start acting. We need to start taking proactive actions that can bring results to our people, if not today, in the future. And hold our leaders accountable, whether they are listening to us or not. That should not be an obstacle to us, that they're not listening to us. Of course, they will not listen to us. But we should not just be speaking in anger, but we should be speaking in responsibility to the next generation. We owe it to the next generation to speak up today. And for those of us who are not in the country, who cannot be nabbed and sent to Pademba Road, it is our obligation to speak. The Tripartite Committee's recommendations are a democratic obligation. Their implementation should be non-negotiable. If this moment passes without action, history will not ask whether we had good intentions when these things were happening. History will ask, did you act? You need to ask yourself that when you are in your own little space alone. Ask yourself, what am I doing to add my voice to what is going on today in my country? So I stand here not as a facilitator of dialogue, but as a witness to truth and as a voice for those whose silence has been enforced by oppression in Sierra Leone. Diaspora advocacy is not a choice. It is our duty, our obligation. We must be the generation or the segment of the population that stretches across oceans, not to escape responsibility, but to confront it. Let us make it impossible for the world to say, we did not know. We in the diaspora must let the world know what is going on in Sierra Leone. And when our children were you, let us be able to say, I spoke up, I resisted, I stood up in the diaspora, but not in distance, in voice and in justice and in action. I thank everyone here today. I am learning a lot so far already, and I thank you all. I thank the organizers for inviting me, and I thank you all for being here and adding your voice to what is going on in our country. Thank you, and God bless Sierra Leone. God bless us all.
The lionesses roared. Thank you so much, Dr. Fatima Abe. You've taken us through, you've awoken us to understand our responsibility. And I think that is very important. We are the generation that's going to make the future better. So let's speak out. Let's join forces together. Let's be strategic. I took that. Thank you so much. I'll hand over to Dr. Sise to introduce the rep from the UN.
Thank you so much, Madam Fatima. And once more, Madam Fatima Bab, thank you so much for reminding the diaspora for their duty. With that, I'll go straight to introducing Mr. Julius Beko Njinge. We apologize for arriving on segment a little later than we had expected. The conversation has been really vigorous. Mr. Njige is the representative of Dr. Leonardo Santos Simao, name in Sierra Leone as a result of the tripartite as well as the Agreement for National Unity. He is the representative of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, and he is the UN Secretary General's representative in that part of Africa. We are really grateful that this gentleman to come and give us insights as a moral guarantor for the Agreement for National Unity and tripartite. That will be really helpful. He's an analyst, a senior analyst in that office, and assistant to, like I said, Dr. Leonardo, the United Nations representative for the Secretary General. With that, we want to welcome him to come and speak to the way forward and why the implementation of the tripartite committee's recommendations is non-negotiable. That I go over to you, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcoming Mr. Julius Beko Njinge. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Accept greetings from Dakar, Senegal. I am here, as Doctor said, to represent the special representative of the Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, Dr. Leonardo Santos Simao, and it is a privilege to talk to you in that capacity. I am the Political Affairs Officer in the UNOWAS Dakar office, and I'm also the Desk Officer for Sierra Leone. That's why I've been directed to come and talk to you. I've also had the honor of serving with the United Nations for over 25 years in various capacities and with several UN entities. Regarding the situation in Sierra Leone, the implementation of the Tripartite Committee's recommendation is not only imperative, it is actually non-negotiable. This is because it is a very decisive step to safeguard national stability, consolidate democracy, and also strengthen international cooperation, especially given the country's turbulent and violent recent past. It is for this reason that the international community, through the moral guarantors comprising the United Nations, which is duly represented by the special representative of the Secretary General, Mr. Simao. It also comprises the ECOWAS, the African Union, and they all remain fully engaged in monitoring and supporting this process. This is to ensure that the recommendations are fully implemented. It is imperative. In this case, we call on all Sierra Leoneans. They should place peace, national unity, and dialogue at the forefront. Dialogue is essential to resolve contentious issues and to ensure that the spirit of cooperation prevails. Without dialogue, this will not be achieved. All parties must work together, and they have to do this in good faith to overcome obstacles and their differences. Only through joint action can Sierra Leone achieve lasting peace and democratic consolidation? This is the short message I brought to you from the special representative, and to inform you that the international community stands ready to assist and to encourage every stakeholder in the peace process in Sierra Leone to honor this commitment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njinge. It cannot be louder and clearer. Wanted on behalf of this group and the people of Sierra Leone for you to convey a sincere thanks and appreciation to Dr. Imao for this immense commitment tonight on the non-negotiable position, how imperative it is for, as you've emphasized, for the full implementation of the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee, especially given our recent violent past, as you highlighted. So we are really grateful for this, to use dialogue, and for everything to be done in good faith in order for us to have lasting peace. Once more, we wanted to thank you, and we'll work with your office. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, just to let our viewers and participants know that, you know, some of the participants who were supposed to speak tonight are experiencing some technical problems. So some of them have want to come back, cannot join the conference. But we've managed to get someone back, Ambassador John Lee. So we'll welcome him. We'll welcome him to talk about democracy in Sierra Leone, gains, challenges, and current crossroads. Ambassador Lee was born in Sierra Leone, where he did his foundation education, and then proceeded to the United States, where he completed his tertiary education in economics, finance, and banking from the University of New York. He's a researcher who has held senior responsibilities in finance in the US and Africa. Former ambassador to the US, and was a member of the SLPP party. Chairman, he has been a chair for the African Universities Press in Ibadan, Nigeria. He's now retired. Over to you, Ambassador John Lee.
Yeah, please, before Ambassador comes in, Madam Moderator, can you kindly ask him to just turn his camera on, if you wouldn't mind, please?
Okay, Ambassador, please, could you turn your camera on? Thank you. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good Chairman, thank you very much. Delighted to join this meeting, and I apologize for the lateness of joining. I'm supposed to speak on democracy. I start by saying there is no democracy in Sierra Leone. None. We've been trying to copy the white man democracy, but all that's happened is that we've been abusing it. There can be no democracy if there is no kinship among the people. What we are just separate people with tribes, and our loyalty is to the tribe and not to the constitution or the nation. Our tribe comes first and last, never the country. And if you have that, you're not going to have the democracy in the place. Every government is based on a tribe. A large tribe supported by the little tribes around them. And that government will try to shift resources to those tribes regardless of what is happening. Now, Samuel Magai was tried very, very hard to be national. His successors did not. Tijan Kaba, I was in that government, tried to join to be national, but he was overthrown. He came back and he tried to do so, but he caved in to the majority tribe in that area. President Nkrumah tried to be national. He tried to spread development nationally around the country, and he tried to include people inside his various commissions. When you have one man making all the appointments to independent commissions and committees, then you don't have independent committees. That was one of the feelings of the committee arrangement that Tijan Kaba began. He listened to the United Nations that you have to have independent professional institutions, but he was a sole guy making all the appointments. So people are loyal to him and not to the commission. Sierra Leone has a lot of problems there. And conquer those problems with a pure democracy. Take the look at why the APC did not go to the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court was not deemed to be as envisaged in the Constitution as an independent organization. It's not independent. So nobody is required by any constitution to do useless things. If all the appointments, if all the appointees inside the Electoral Commission are all loyal to the president and not to the country, you're not going to get a fair result there. Bio has appointed his brothers, his sisters, his aunts, and everybody else into the government in key positions. That's not how democracy works. Democracy is supposed to be based on a merit system, but our tribal system has a favoritism system. We're all on favors. We don't go on an objective system. The British tried to do it, and Milton Magai implemented it. Milton Magai, Karafa Smart, and those kind of guys implemented it. But the time came in when the party had to split, the others went one, the others remained. And it has been undemocratic since that time. And I credit only two people to try to be national now, to Tijan Kaba and Nkrumah. Now, if there's no kinship, there can be no democracy. We have to find a way to cure tribal loyalty that is over the constitution. Some tribes have secret oaths they take, and those secret oaths are superior to them than the constitution. So if you have those kinds of situations, you're not going to get pure democracy in the country. I've been in both parties and I've seen how it operates. Basically, Sierra Leone is an elitist system. And it's a continuation from the ancient days where one warrior chief is in charge of everything. You support him, he favors you. You don't support him, he either executes you or sell you into slavery. So, education, I've not addressed those issues. We go for the superficial and not what's underneath. If you don't know what's underneath, you're not going to solve our problems. And I look at this whole situation right now, you know, and it was highlighted by Abbas Mundu supporting his side. I know Abbas Mundu, I work with him in Washington, D.C., on the opposite side. He interpreted for Bill the destruction of the Sierra Leone Constitution. He took from Parliament a fundamental right of Parliament that's gone back to the ancient time of the Magna Carta. Through all the things, King Charles I of England tried to dominate the country and the money, and for that he lost his head. But we give all the power to BO to to spend as he likes. Parliament gave it to him. The parliament is very weak. So whatever the man who is in charge of favoritism does is who they support. And it's easy to do that because there is no national economy. There is no basic thing except government transfer of income. There is no production inside the country. The lands are all tied up. The people all flock into one part of the country, and it's all dog eat dog. In that situation, democracy cannot work. So if we want to get forward in this country, let's find a productive economy so people can be independent financially and don't have to kiss anybody to get forward. But in Sierra Leone, if you don't do as they say, there is no economic way out for you. They can take your land, fake it. The justice system is not independent. It's all tribal appointments and tribal loyalty to one power source, the guy who distributes the goodies. So let's focus on a system that will produce us a good economy. Let's focus a system where if people take their tribes more seriously than a nation, let's divide them into their tribes and let them run their tribes by themselves, and let's get a national system that will take care of that. But right now, what we're doing is that we're grossing over all these superficialities and trying to imitate democracy. It's never going to work. So I say to my fellow Sierra Leoneans, let's find a way to get a Sierra Leone kingship where everybody belongs. It's a long, tall order. It's not to take forever, but right now, people are more loyal to their tribe than to the country. Let us build an economy with independent management, independent, how would I say it? The scarcest commodity in Sierra Leone is objectivity. People who can make decisions on the basis of facts and analysis, not on basis of paddy, favoritism, tribe, and such. If there's no objectivity in making certain decisions, the country will never work. There's too much poverty in the land. Why is there so much poverty? Why? I believe the poverty in Sierra Leone is man-made. It's an elitist system, and those in charge confiscate it for their own good, and the commoner is left outside. Some of them suggested power sharing. Power sharing will only benefit the elites, the guys inside, because they all depend on government transfers. They don't depend on a system where you can benefit from your own ingenuity, from your own hard work, from your own perseverance. The minute you start to succeed, you'll have 200 dependents on your back. And native customs says you have to take care of them. So let's go back to our origins and see whether we can create a national kingship. So the man from Bondapi sees his brother, whether it's in Cambia or in Kabbalah, as his genuine brother, not because of language differences. That is what we have to conquer to be able to be democratic. The present system doesn't have to allow for integrity. Nobody can stand up and say 1 + 1 make 2 in politics. Can't say that. If you say that and you are correct, they just hate you and put you aside. So to me, there is no basis for a national democratic system at the present time. Anyone who try it will fail. Power sharing, the bad guys, they're more. Look, I saw how Abagagai took power from Samuel Temagai. Just by getting the guys and sharing the money. And they all formed one party. And they came in. The civil service were meant for people trained in the culture of civil service. but he wanted the jobs for his brothers. So he filled the place up, and today we don't have a civil service. We have just, what do you call it? It's a place where you push your brother to make a living. It's not to get the job done. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go back and see how we can create one Sierra Leone, regardless of tribe. If we don't do that, forget about democracy, find some other system. Poverty has to be addressed. As long as the place is desperately poor, a cocaine kingpin can come to the place and bribe everybody, and everybody surrenders. Because life is too hard for the ordinary man. Life is too hard for the single woman. It's too hard for the guys with degrees but no connection. Those are the kinds of problems we should focus on. How do you solve those problems so the individual has personal sovereignty? He doesn't have to kiss anybody. He can go his way and do his own thing legally within the law. If you get that kind of system, you're going to get an independent justice system that everybody will respect. If you don't have it, you're not going to trust the justice system. You're not going to trust this, you're not going to trust that. You're not going to, people, I don't want to go too far with this thing because the things I've discovered in Sierra Leone when I've been there, it's really mine. It's really, really hard. It's really we should stop imitating the white man and come home and solve the problem. You know, there are two types of Sierra Leoneans. One, totally powerless. Totally powerless. He has nothing. Even he has 10 PhDs. If it's not in the in group, he's out. Totally out. If you tell the other guys, this is wrong, they will sell you in the transatlantic slave trade. That system is continuing to this very day. There are too many things underneath that is affecting us, but nobody has put it on the table to say, let's discuss this thing and get a true democratic country. So me, we should find a system that doesn't share spoils. If everybody is successful economically in their own place, in the private sector, by doing the good so the people will benefit, it's a different country. But if all sit back and trying to get financial transfers from the government, or favor for land, piece of land, or favor for this and favor for that, there won't be any democracy in Sierra Leone. I can tell you that.
No.
Because they will grab everyone, grab and keep it. I'm talking fundamentals here. I'm talking fundamentals here. If we don't get back to the fundamentals, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid there'll be no democracy. Take a decent election. See what is going on. See what's going on. We have one guy with power to spend 50 fata with nobody asking any question.
Thank you.
That's the role of Parliament. Parliament should have the final say on financial matters, not one man. Because all these
thank you so much, Dr. Lee.
Is that enough?
Yeah, if you want to round up now, that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let me stop here right now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ambassador Lee. I think you've touched on very key points there. We need to build kinship. If we are not together, we can never move forward. And we need to make the Constitution the core of our society. I think that's a very, very important point that we need to. And
parliaments need to take responsibility as well and build a society where everyone can thrive economically. So we really thank you for taking us through this journey tonight. To our listeners, the next speaker would be Dr. Samura Kamara. We are just going to have a quick music break just so that he gets himself ready. And yeah, come over.
Sierra Leone advocacy movement. Slow. Rise up Sierra Leone, it's time we shine. From the hills of Freetown to diamond mines of Kono. We are one voice, we are one dream. Building a nation through Slam's great voices. No more silence, no more fear. Let unity and justice draw us near. Across the world and deep at home, we fight for truth, we stand as one. Together corruption, no more lies. Transparent dreams under honest skies. Democracy is more than just a name. With Sierra Leone advocacy movement, we give the people hope, justice served, equality born in every heart of brand new dawn. Let's lift our flag and proudly show, together for Salon, hand in hand we go. For peace, for justice, let the whole world know. From the diaspora to every town, Sierra Leone advocacy movement is rising. We won't back down. Educate, empower, raise your voice today. Sierra Leone advocacy movement leads the way to a brighter day. We are Sierra Leone advocacy movement. Sierra Leone advocacy movement. Through civic lessons and voting rights, we teach the people to choose what's right. We fight for free speech, we heal the land. With health and hope we take a stand. Women rise, you lead the way. In Boeing Corner, in every bay. From Kenny, my clinic.
Dr. Sise, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you?
Please, can you spotlight Dr. Sise?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Maybe get going.
All right. We've come to the program tonight, but this is a critical part of the program, and I have the singular privilege of introducing Dr. Samura Kamara. With education, he obtained his first degree in BSc Economics in the University of Sierra Leone Frabe College. This was as far back as 1972, and subsequently furthered his education in the University College of North Wales, now Bangor University, where he obtained the master's degree and his terminal degree, PhD, in development economics in the same university, this 1986. Career-wise, he served in all sorts of capacities, but his early international career, he started with the Commonwealth, where he served as a senior economics officer between 1991 and 1994, and rose to the rank of chief program officer in the Department of Economic Affairs in the Commonwealth Secretariat between 2001. And he went to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, where he served as an alternative executive director between 2006 and 2007. In terms of service in Sierra Leone, He's also served as financial secretary, and actually allow me, His Excellency elect, to give you my personal experience of yourself. I think whilst you served as financial secretary in that department as a student then in the medical school in Sierra Leone, we had problems with our Sierra Leone government grants in aid, SLG. And without an appointment, as difficult as it was, we stormed your office. I think it was Gloucester Street. Without an appointment, you still saw us, and you did assure us that we should pass, and that you will ensure that we start getting our grant in aid. And true to your word, that started coming. We wanted to thank you for that. That is what leadership is all about, to the service of people. So he served diligently as financial Sierra Leone and went on to be governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone between 2007 and 2009. And subsequently as Minister of Finance and Economic Development between 2009 and 2012, and later Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation between 2012 and 2017. So as you would have known, with his political career, he served as the presidential 2018 election for the APC, and subsequently in 2023 as the presidential candidate as well. He's held the party leadership, and he's been negotiating on behalf of the party. He's been very much involved in inter-party dialogue and has served as a chief negotiator of the APC in the tripartite committee. With his skills and expertise, as the main base is development. That is where his academic background is, with a terminal PhD in the field, and he's an expert in mathematics and public finance, very experienced in public financial management, budgeting, and fiscal policy. And in the central bank, obviously, he served as governor of the Sierra Leone Central Bank and has strong institutional experience. In the world of diplomacy, he has finesse in that world, and in international relations. He has served as foreign minister, negotiated on behalf of Sierra Leone, and multilateral relations. He's worked with the Commonwealth, IMF, the African Union. His achievement are enormous. He's contributed in the last government, the APC government, the agenda for change policy under President Koro. He's played a role in the United Nations reform, African representation, in the Committee of 10 in the AU, and I'm trying to reform the United Nations. He served in that. As Minister of Finance, he's overseen macroeconomic policies. That stewardship, Sierra Leone saw significant economic activity, as we all bear witness to. He held international development responsibilities everywhere, including the Commonwealth Secretariat, not the least. Above all, this gentleman is a calm, is very human, and very religious as well. He's a Catholic Christian, and his political affiliation lies with the Congress Party. He's represented regularly everywhere in regional African diplomatic forums, and like I said, more importantly, he's also a married gentleman and very committed. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the elect, as per the evidence we have via the tripartite and the elections of 2023, Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara. Our privilege, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Thank you very much for that wonderful intro. I wish I am all that you've said about me. God bless us all.
Thank you.
Kindly allow me, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, to read my statement. Good evening to all of you. Tonight, we gather under a very challenging and timely purpose: to exchange our ideas and perspectives on Sierra Leone's democracy at the crossroads. This is not merely a meeting, it is a summons to conscience. It is an assembly of minds that recognize the gravity of the unprecedented outcomes before, during, and days after of the June 2023 multi-tier elections in our beloved Sierra Leone. The impact on our democracy and the moral urgency for credible remedies that will restore trust, project rights, protect human rights, and secure freedom and the franchise of every Sierra Leonean. I want to thank Slam Global for convening a truly global audience on a truly defining costume. I sincerely appreciate each one of you for agreeing to participate or to follow the proceedings with keen interest. Your deep reflections for Sierra Leone will remain invaluable. In celebrating United Nations International Day for Tolerance, let me admonish everybody that tolerance is not the absence of standards. It is the courage to uphold truth without fear, to welcome inclusive diplomacy and dialogue without intimidation, and to insist calmly but very firmly that justice be done and be seen to be done. That is why I am here with you, privileged and humbled to listen and to learn. And that is why, together, we must continue to speak plainly and live by the truth, no matter how hurtful it might be. Ladies and gentlemen, given your extensive experience, we need to be assertive and precise since the stakes are very critical. As Sierra Leoneans, in particular, we must never stop or hesitate to interrogate the cracks in our 64-year democratic journey, to critically examine the pivotal impact of the 2023 elections, and to set out a credible pathway forward, anchored on truth, on freedom, justice, and democratic imperatives. Alone being our individual and collective responsibility, we must commit ourselves to identify pathways that can move this one-time nation from uncertainty to stability, from public grievance to good, inclusive governance, and from to impactful, accountable, and equitable service delivery. From your dreams tonight, on this theme, we are confronted with three simple truths. Firstly, that justice is the foundation of peace. Secondly, that freedom is the oxygen of democracy. And thirdly, that truth, however, a test. A promise born in 1961 with independence that sovereignty would bring dignity, justice, and opportunity for every Sierra Leonean. I'm happy that I heard Ambassador Lee referencing Milton Magai, our first Prime Minister, as if we actually decided to do the same. In the words of Sir Milton Magai, after signing the Independence Protocol, said, the aim of independence will certainly be to make our country a land worth living in, a land worth serving. But this can only be done by wholehearted service and hard work now. Our first Prime Minister went on to say, I quote, I ask you to deal fairly and honestly your fellow men, to discourage lawlessness, and to strive actively for peace, friendship, and unity in our country. Unquote. Therefore, the test of our democracy is whether we could sustain these promises through the storms of power, conflict, and reform. For 64 years, our democratic journey, with the promise of self-rule and freedom, has been marked by both triumphs and tragedies. Our path has been anything but smooth. Our democracy has been tested repeatedly. We have witnessed moments of hope when the will of the people triumphed over the weight of history. Yet, we have also seen the slow corrosion of trust, where institutions meant to safeguard our democracy have instead been weakened by partisanship, fear, silence, and executive capture. Each democratic chapter has revealed existential cracks and fragile transitions that continue to challenge our aspirations for a truly representative system. The truth is that our democracy has cracked, not because Sierra Leoneans do not believe in it, but because too many of our leaders have stopped respecting democracy. They have exercised their power to manipulate the democratic system for personal gain and have accordingly failed to abide by its principles, practices, and values for general welfare. Instead of building discipline, fairness, and strong institutions, we have opted to build our democracy around the networks of loyalty, political protection, and self-interest. When power becomes more important than principle, when truth becomes negotiable, and when the ballot becomes a weapon instead of a voice, then democracy stands at a crossroads. And finally, it crumples, thereby giving way to the exercise of power and authority without a human face. This is why, and this is where we are today. The June 24, 2023 multi-tier election stand as a pivotal moment in Sierra Leone's democratic journey. Reported turnout was impressively high at 83%, reflecting the people's enduring faith in the ballot box. Yet, this faith was seriously shaken as results were announced and winners proclaimed without a legitimate vote count. Domestic observers, international observers, the opposition, and the people raised serious concerns about transparency, irregularities, inconsistencies in vote counting, and the credibility in the entire electoral processes. The main opposition party, the All People's Congress, rejected the results and mistrust deepened. The heavily rigged June 2023 elections did not merely produce a foundational dispute. They have exposed seriously the fragility of our democratic fabric and its vulnerability to selfish political leadership. They have tested the integrity of our institutions, the courage of our citizens, and the commitment of our international partners. Clearly, when elections are disputed, the very foundations of political, economic, and social governance are shattered, and everything else falls apart. At the heart of Sierra Leone's democratic test lies one defining struggle: the fight for electoral justice. This is not a partisan struggle. It is a national obligation. For when elections cease to reflect the people's will, governance ceases to reflect the people's consent. And without consent, democracy becomes hollow. Electoral justice, therefore, is the cornerstone of political legitimacy, peace, and progress. It is the assurance that every vote counts, every citizen matters, and every result is anchored in truth. The events surrounding the June 2023 elections of June 24 have underscored just how urgent this fight has become. They revealed not only procedural weaknesses, but a moral crisis in leadership and institutional accountability, courage, and conscience. This is why the internationally mediated inter-party dialogue between the APC and the SLP government, the resulting agreement for national unity, and the tripartite committee and its recommendations were not just administrative mechanisms. They were a moral necessity. They represent a collective recognition that something is fundamentally wrong with our democratic governance, climaxed by the June 24, 2023 election events, and that we must, with honesty and courage, right the wrong. Implementing the outcomes of these mechanisms is not an act of concession. It is an act of restoration. That is, restoring the confidence of the people in their democracy, the credibility of our elections, and the legitimacy of those who govern in their name. Distinguished participants, we must understand this moment in its depth. The question before us is not merely about who won or lost an election. It is about whether Sierra Leone will continue as a democracy guided by law, fairness, and truth, or drift toward a system governed by fear, manipulation, and impunity. It is from this foundation that we must begin our collective effort to move Sierra Leone forward, anchored in truth, guided by justice, and inspired by the courage to do what is right, not what is easy. The truth is that the cracks in our democratic foundation did not just appear overnight. They emerged and deepened gradually through complacency, through the personalization of power, through the politicization of institutions, and through the quiet erosion of accountability. Over time, we built systems that looked democratic on paper, were often compromised in practice. As we reflect on 64 years of independence, let us be humble enough to acknowledge our missteps, yet bold enough to correct them. Let us remember that democracy is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of fairness, not silence of dissent, but the protection of voices. Our generation, therefore, stands at a moral crossroad to either continue patching over the cracks or to repair the foundation once and for all. And that foundation must be built on truth, freedom, and justice, and democracy. These are principles that cannot be negotiated, postponed, or suppressed. Distinguished participants, the path before us is not one of despair, but one of determination. Sierra Leone's future will not be defined by the challenges of the moment, but by the courage with which we continue to confront them sustainably, fairly, and with strong determination and conviction. The question before us is not whether democracy can be restored, but whether we have the moral will to restore it now, faithfully, peacefully, and resolutely. As I reflect on our current reality, I do not see a failed state, but a nation yearning for renewal. Yes, Israeli renewal. I do not see a defeated people, but a resilient citizenry, ready to reclaim their rights to be governed through fairness and truth. The task ahead demands honesty, discipline, and unity of purpose. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends of Sierra Leone, as I bring these reflections to a close, I invite us all to look before the horizon of today's uncertainties and imagine a Sierra Leone reborn, governed by truth, guided by justice, and strengthened by the democratic values we all hold dear. Sierra Leone's story is one of unfulfilled promises. Possessing resources, expertise, dedicated individuals, and ethical strength, we are equipped to reshape our democracy so that it not only lasts, but also serves as a source of inspiration. But for this transformation to take root, we must each play our part with integrity, patience, and resolve. We must restore the credibility of our institutions and the sanctity of the vote. These are acts of patriotism and the way forward for a nation determined to reconcile, to reform, and to rise again. Let us remember that democracy is not a gift that others can perfect for us. It is a duty that we must perfect ourselves. Every generation of Sierra Leoneans must renew this covenant, ensuring that the sacrifices were not in vain. In this effort, I reaffirm my unwavering commitment to peaceful democratic change, to vengeance, and to leadership that unites rather than divides. Sierra Leone's progress will not come from the noise of confrontation, the plane of consensus, not from rhetoric, but from results. To our international partners, I extend gratitude and principled support. The compelling fight for electoral justice now and electoral reform, therefore, in Sierra Leone. It is part of the broader global commitment to protect democracy wherever tested or challenged. To my fellow Sierra Leoneans, both at home and across the world, to our political leaders and leadership, to our media and social bloggers, to all civil society organizations, and to all our religious leaders, we cannot lose faith in the very ideals that define us. The spirit of resilience that saw us through our darkest days remains our greatest asset. Time to channel that spirit not into development, not into fear, but into freedom. The Lord's future is not predetermined. Shape actions take today, tomorrow. I stand before you tonight, not as a man of grievance, but as a messenger of peace. I believe, no matter how long it takes to toil, just find a secure, forum, share the recognition, tolerance, dialogue, therefore, confident that no bend can exist. What I will make clear, so and finally, to defend a few our rights. Allen Solomon.
Doc, Doc, can you be a little bit louder? We've missed quite a chunk of what you're saying.
This struggle, though uncertain, is not without hope. It is a winnable fight, one that demands unity, one that demands courage, and one that demands our persistence. I call upon all who share my conviction to rally around your conscience, to remain steadfast in the pursuit of justice, and to continue pressing forward until the will of the people is restored. The path may be long, but the course is just. With collective determination, Sierra Leone can reclaim its democratic integrity and secure a future built on fairness, accountability, and the true voice of its citizens. May our beloved country find peace, stability, and democratic renewal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samura Kamara, for that statement, which clearly has given us or summarized the purpose of this particular conference tonight. We want to thank you especially. Very clear in your statement that the principle of freedom, justice, and democracy, and in fact, it's a and you want to achieve this, and we all want to achieve this commitment to peaceful change. We're grateful for that. I think it's very clear that as we conclude this dialogue tonight, that we should all reaffirm ourselves to the future of Sierra Leone. And this depends on our collective willingness to courage, responsibility, and urgency, as highlighted. That tonight, the tripartite, we've all come to the agreement that it should serve as the roadmap, the blueprint for the way forward for national cohesion in Sierra Leone. And this can only happen with a mutual respect and political maturity. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has taught us that reconciliation and reform cannot be postponed. The consequences of delay are visible everywhere in our country. We should believe that a nation can again lead the world to turning conflict into opportunity and division into strength. Remember, the world is watching everyone. With those words, I wanted to thank everyone that came today, and I'll hand over to my co-host. It's been a privilege. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamara, for summarizing and invigorating the fight for freedom and justice in our country. Over to you, Madam Fatima.
Thank you very much, my co-host, and thanks to everyone for spending this time tonight. I will not go over most of the points, but there are key things that we just need to remind ourselves. As some of the speakers have highlighted some key issues. One is the tripartite recommendations at treaty. Two, we call for the publication of all the recommendations, all 85 of them. Also, we as the diasporans, we are the voice of our people, and we have a responsibility. We must build kinship to strengthen our democracy. The implementation of the tripartite recommendation is non-negotiable, and it's imperative that it is fully implemented. And we have a moral responsibility to restore democracy, and therefore to build a nation and that is based on democracy, unity, dignity, and therefore we will rebuild, we will reclaim, and we will prosper. Over to Madam Zainab.
Just one second. I think we must bring up the apologies of the UK contingent. We were expecting British MPs, Neil Coyle, but due to assignment today, he sent his apology. He couldn't make it. And he's always been a friend of Sierra Leone who stood by us throughout this journey. We are grateful for his time. He was really committed. He was very enthusiastic and looking forward to part of this. And also, we have a councillor, a Labour councillor in the UK, in the person of Madam Fatima Kamara. Unfortunately, the Labour Congress is ongoing right now, tonight. We've been in conversation throughout. She was to make a statement that during the time for her slot, she was on the podium in the Labour conference. So she sends as well. She's not been able to come to us, but I can tell you that all very committed people to the fight. And thank you so much for those very points that you've stated in the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So over to you, Zainab Omoyemi, to give the votes of thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Our Honorable Director General and Deputy Director General of the Sierra Leone Advocacy Movement, our moderators, Dr. Mohamed Sissay and Mrs. Fatima Sissay, members of the SLAM Global Executive Team, the general membership of SLAM Global, both in Sierra Leone and the diaspora, our key stakeholders, all dignitaries, respected guests of honor and distinguished panelists, members of the various media handles, distinguished guests and attendees, good evening. I am proud to propose this vote of thanks on behalf of the Sierra Leone Advocacy Movement. We are beyond thankful for the success of this exclusive webinar conference on Sierra Leone's democracy at Crossroads and the imperative of fully implementing the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee, which you have all graced with your presence. We appreciate all our speakers and panelists who gladly and wholeheartedly agreed to participate in this very significant event. We have had an invaluable opportunity of listening to a very stimulating discussion on our motherland's democratic trajectory in the context of regional and trends, especially after the controversial 2023 elections in Sierra Leone, elections that did not produce any credible data in support of the results announced by the Elections Commissioner, Mr. Mohamed Kone. We also listened to a discussion on the importance of implementing the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee in full, without let or hindrance. As we conclude these discussions, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge our distinguished participants. Dr. Alfred Vinod Fuller, Dr. Matthew Wilson Samura Kamara, Dr. Fatima Babi, Chief Sebora Somano Kapen, Julius Benko Injengeng, Ambassador John Lee, and Mr. Ear Martin Monde for taking time off your busy schedule just to be here with us and to make this event extra special. However, no matter how well we plan this event, it will not have been possible without you, our excellent moderators, Dr. Mohamed Sissay and Mrs. Fatima Sissay. Together, you stirred such important and stimulating discussion with consummate eloquence and clarity that when we conclude this session, everyone will agree with me that it has been an eye-opener on not only Sierra Leone's democratic trajectory in the wake of the controversial 2023 elections, but also on what we can do as Sierra Leoneans at home and abroad to correct these wrongdoings and say never again. Our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to the following people for their relentless efforts in making this event an absolute success. Our SLAM support team, Mr. Ba, Pastor Esther Dorami, Mary H. Kamara, Mrs. Beatrice Conte, and Anne-Marie Demir. Our advertising team, the social media bloggers, Mr. Salon, APC Malaika, African Teacher, Mohammed Moriba, and all others who have shared and advertised the event. The dynamic and fearless electoral justice spokesman, Mr. Mohammed Warisei. Our planning and organizing team, Slam Zoom team, and the general membership. Our Slam media team, Mr. Hassan A. Toure, Mohamed O. Bangura, Karifa Kamara, and Dr. Amadou Denke. The various media handles, Komon-Tok, Sarah Gem Media, Queen of Social Media, APC Diaspora Online TV, and Weird. You have all put in tremendous efforts and personal sacrifices to make this event possible. Your commitment and drive are truly appreciated and do not go unnoticed. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Slam Global Executive Team and members for your unwavering support and for your personal and collective sacrifices in the fight for our democracy. These are the kind of sacrifices that we must continue to make as we say never again. Notwithstanding our personal sacrifices in putting these events together, it will not have attracted such an attendance if every one of you had not taken time off your busy schedule to attend by joining us online. It's Tuesday and the second working day in the week, yet you choose to patronize us and contribute to a worthy national discussion. We are very grateful for that. Most importantly, we would like to thank our extraordinary attendees for making time to join us and listening to our amazing speakers and participants. We have all listened, we have all heard, we have all learned, and we are ready to make that change in restoring our democracy in Sierra Leone. Finally, I would like to thank all known and unknown hands that contributed to the success of this event. I say a big thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, and thank you again.
Thank you, our able Mrs. Zainab. That was amazing. Thank you very much. And thanks to every one of you. Have a good night's rest, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
We won't back down. Educate, empower, raise your voice today. Sierra Leone advocacy movement leads the way to a brighter day. We are Sierra Leone advocacy movement. Sons and daughters of this land, bound by purpose, driven by hope. For every child, every mother, every voice unheard. We rise for unity. We fight for justice. We speak for peace. We move together, Sierra Leone advocacy movement. We are here to stay.
Political talks, we know go shy. Migration stories should know go die. Entertainment, we go dance to the beat. Health and well-being, make we rise from we seat. It's not a platform, we go speak the truth for the young and the old. That we voice we do. Come on, talk, you go hear me loud. We no go hide, you go make me proud. First I know to the world, we dey stand tall. Come here we are. Oh yeah, we message for. Choice from politics to help we stand firm. Migration of us, we come from. Komon-Tok, place to be with the young and care for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah we did. For the future, we pave the way. We talk about the health, we need them for survive. Make the system better so we people could thrive. Entertainment, they speak the music, the flow. But we still go on the things we need to know. Political leaders, make when I hear the cry. We could talk, come here, no we know go lie. Not Komon-Tok, we just stand for the truth. Make we rise for the sake of the youth. Ooh, Komon-Tok, you gon' hear me loud. We no go hide, you gon' make me proud. From salon to the wall, we dey stand tall. Come here, we are. Oh yeah, we message for. Komon-Tok, this how we voice. Army to make the choice from politics to help enemies. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. Army soup, we they make the choice. From politics to health, we stand firm. Migration and vibes, we they confirm. Komon-Tok, not the place to be. We the young, I'm clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we did. For the future, we they pave the way. Komon-Tok, ooh yeah. We the talk and we'll make me, yeah. From Freetown to the world. From Sierra Leone to everywhere, oh yeah. Komon-Tok, come make we, yeah. From the streets of Freetown to the world beyond, we the yarn about the things we the hold strong. Political talks, we no go shy. Migration stories should no go die. Entertainment, we go dance to the beats. Health and well-being, make we rise from we seat. This now we platform, we go speak the truth. For the young and the old, now we voice be the roots. Oh, Komon-Tok, you go hear we loud. We no go hide, we gon' make me proud. From Salon to the world, we just stand and talk. Come here, we on, now we message for all. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we make the choice. From politics to health, we just stand firm. Migration and vibes, we the confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We the young, I'm clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we there. For the future, we the pave the way. We talk about the health, we need that for survive. Make the system better so we people go thrive. Entertainment this week, the music, the flow. But we still go young, the things we need to know. Political leaders make una hear the cry. We go talk and yeah, no we no go lie. Now Komon-Tok, we dey stand for the truth. Make we rise for the sake of the youth. Oh, Komon-Tok, you go hear we loud. We no go hide, we go make me proud. From Salon to the world, we dey stand and talk. Come here, we young, now we message for Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we dey make the choice. From politics to health, we dey stand firm. Migration and vibes, we dey confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We dey young, I'm clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we dey. For the future, we dey pave the way. Oh, now we dey young for better tomorrow. No more tears, no more sorrow. We go shining like the truth must show. Komon-Tok together, we go grow. Feel the rhythm, feel the beat. Komon-Tok, where the minds come meet. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we dey make the choice. From politics to health, we dey stand firm. Migration and vibes, we dey confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We dey young, I'm clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we dey. For the future, we dey pave the way. Oh, Komon-Tok, oh yeah. We dey talk and we'll make we, yeah. From Freetown to the world, we go spread the news. Komon-Tok, now the platform we choose. From Freetown to the world, we go spread the news. Komon-Tok, now the platform we choose. From Sierra Leone to everywhere, oh yeah. Komon-Tok, come make we, yeah. From the streets of Freetown to the world beyond, we dey yarn about the things we dey hold strong. Political talks, we no go shy. Migration stories should no go die. Entertainment, we go dance to the beats. Health and well-being, make we rise from we seat. This now we platform, we go speak the truth. For the young and the old, now we voice be the roots. Oh, Komon-Tok, you go hear we loud. We no go hide, we gon' make me proud. From Salon to the world, we just stand and talk. Come here, we on, now we message for all. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we dey make the choice. From politics to health, we dey stand firm. Migration and vibes, we dey confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We dey young, I'm clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we dey. For the future, we dey pave the way. We talk about the health, we need that for survive. Make the system better so we people go thrive. Entertainment this week, the music, the flow. But we still go young, the things we need to know. Political leaders make una hear the cry. We go talk and yeah, no we no go lie. Now Komon-Tok, we dey stand for the truth. Make we rise for the sake of the youth. Oh, Komon-Tok, you go hear we loud. We no go hide, we go make me proud. From Salon to the world, we dey stand the talk. Come here, we young. now we message for. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we dey make the choice. From politics to health, we dey stand firm. Migration and vibes, we dey confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We dey yarn and clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we dey. For the future, we dey pave the way. Oh, now we dey yarn for better tomorrow. No more tears, no more sorrow. We go shining like the truth must show. Komon-Tok, together we go grow. Feel the rhythm, feel the beat. Komon-Tok, where the minds commit. Komon-Tok, this now we voice. R&B soup, we dey make the choice. From politics to health, we dey stand firm. Migration and vibes, we dey confirm. Komon-Tok, now the place to be. We dey yarn and clear for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we dey. For the future, we dey pave the way. Oh, Komon-Tok, oh yeah. We dey talk and real, make we hear. From Freetown to the world, we go spread the news. Komon-Tok, now the platform we choose.